Hey guys, it's Taylor from Kinpatsu Cosplay here, and I'm back with another cosplay crafting tutorial. Once upon a time, I made a Bowsette cosplay when the meme originally came out. It's been a few years since then, and I still love this cosplay, but I didn't really love the crown I made. It was fine, but it definitely could have been better. And me being the perfectionist I am, with an undying need to make my own life harder than it should be, I decided to go back and remake my Bowsette crown. But that's good news for you, because it means that I have a new and improved super crown tutorial for you guys using a bunch of cool techniques. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a super crown out of EVA foam. And instead of painting it, I'm going to show you how to finish it by covering it in fabric, which is a really cool technique. So without further ado, let's get to crafting. To start the process, you will need to make a pattern. Lucky for you, you can skip this step if you want and just download and use the super crown pattern I've made here. But if you'd like to learn how to make your own patterns for other costumes, here's how I did it. To make a pattern for my super crown, I started by making a sculpture of the cushion shape inside with monster clay. This is a really cool oil-based clay that is soft when warm and gets harder as it cools down. I made a base first with tinfoil to add some bulk to my shape. Then I added the monster clay on top of this and began sculpting. This crown has 4 segments in the cushion. Since they're all symmetrical, I focused on refining the shape of just one of these segments and getting it perfect for my pattern. Then I could duplicate the same pattern for the rest. For the piece that goes around the cushion shape, I used some paper and wrapped it around the sculpture to make a mock-up. Once I had the base shape of the crown, I folded up the pieces into 4 even sections and drew on where my points would be. Then I cut these out with scissors to get the final shape for my crown. To make the pattern for the inner cushion, I tore off pieces of paper tape and laid them onto the sculpture. When making patterns like this, you want to make sure your pieces of tape are nice and smooth. I then drew lines for my seams with a pen and added registration marks to help line up the pieces later. I only ended up making a pattern for 1/2 of the segment because I can use this to make 8 identical pieces and ensure I get a symmetrical crown. Once you finish drawing on your lines, you can peel off the tape and cut out the pieces. As you can see, when I peeled this piece off, it didn't lay flat, so I had to add another seam or dart up the center. Now the patterns are complete. To build the crown, you will need 5mm EVA foam. Trace the pattern for the base of the crown onto the foam with a pen. Then you can cut out the piece with scissors or a sharp craft knife. To make the crown gold and shiny, you can use gold vinyl. I got this online from MJ Trends. Spray the back of the fabric and the foam with spray adhesive. Then you can stick the foam crown to the back of the fabric. Cut around the edges of the crown, leaving around 1 centimeter of extra fabric. At the ends of the crown, you want to cut away all excess fabric right to the edge. The foam should be exposed on the outer edge to help the crown join later. Cut a straight edge at the top of each point of the crown. Then cut a slit down towards the inner corners. Then you can fold over the edges and press them down. If the spray adhesive is dry and doesn't want to stick down anymore, you can use regular contact adhesive to help secure these edges. To cover the inside of the crown, use more spray adhesive on the back of the gold fabric and then glue the crown onto it. Then you can use scissors to carefully trim the fabric all the way to the edges of the crown. With the crown covered, you can now join the 2 edges together with contact adhesive. You will also need to cover an EVA foam half dowel in gold fabric to go around the bottom edge. Spray the dowel and the fabric with glue, then stick them together. You can then trim the fabric and fold over the excess to secure it in place. Once your foam dowel is covered, it should look like this. Nice and smooth and shiny. You can glue this to the bottom edge of the crown with contact adhesive and wrap it around the bottom. For the cushion section of your crown, you can take your pattern and trace it onto more 5mm EVA foam. This pattern is only for half of one segment, so it needs to be flipped over and mirrored for the other half, and you will need to do this for all 4 segments. So you will need to trace this pattern 4 times normally and 4 times flipped for 8 total pieces. Make sure you draw on your registration marks too, as this will help line everything up later. Once you've traced your pattern pieces, you can cut them out with a craft knife. You will need to cut the edges where each segment joins the next at a 45-degree angle to create an upper bevel. This will make sure they join together at the right angle later. The rest of the edges you can cut normally at a 90-degree angle. When you have all your pieces cut out, you can begin to glue them together with contact adhesive. Apply the adhesive to each edge you will be joining, then let the glue dry slightly and get tacky. You can then line up the edges and press them together. Join the pieces for each individual segment first. Then you can glue together the 4 segments to form the full cushion shape. To finish off the cushion, you can cover it in pink spandex fabric. Spray the back of the fabric and the foam piece with spray adhesive. Then lay the fabric onto the foam and carefully stretch and position it. Covering strange shapes like this in fabric can be a bit tricky. You may need to keep adjusting your fabric and stretching it and maneuvering it until you have worked out all the wrinkles. Luckily, the gold section of the crown covers this bottom area, so you don't have to be too perfect. When the cushion is covered, you can trim off the excess pink fabric. Then fold over the edges and glue them into place with contact adhesive. To add some final details to the crown, you can cut out some white fabric circles and glue them to each side of the cushion. Then you can take a large gold button and glue this into the center of the cushion at the top with super glue. Now to assemble everything. Apply some super glue to the inside of the gold crown. Then you can slide the cushion piece inside this and press it into position. Everything's coming together, just a few more details left. To make the balls on top of the points, I found these gold rivets. When I glued the 2 halves together, I was able to make a round gold ball. You could also use gold beads too. Take these and glue them onto each tip of the crown with more super glue. You can use Deco Art thermoplastic beads to sculpt small eyes. Take the pellets and place them in a silicone baking cup, then heat them up with a heat gun. These beads get very hot, so be careful when you handle the melted plastic. Apply a small amount of black paint into the melted beads and mix it together to color them. Then you can roll these out and sculpt them into shape to form the eyes. Glue these onto your crown with super glue. Finally, to attach the crown, cut a piece of aluminium wire and glue it into the inside of the crown. Then you can fold and wrap the ends of the wire onto a headband. This will allow you to position the crown along the headband however you want. Now your super crown is complete and ready to transform you into any version of Peach you want.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new in the process. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, please like it, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. It really helps. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. I'll see you guys soon with more cosplay tips and tricks. Until then, bye for now.